My name is Charles Nanta. This is my final presentation on Section 4 video on my final master thesis on my journey in CCU Master of Organizational Leadership. Yes, I have learned so much in my research topics of understanding poverty dimension. I leverage poverty dimension um, in my blessings from reading the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5 1 to 12. The several blessings for our actions. I discovered several components of multidimensional poverty. I also looked into the income and net worth discrepancies. I noticed the higher poverty rates and falling income in minority medium household. These are some of the basics um, underpins of my research. I went in depth in causes of poverty, the monetary poverty, the capability poverty, the social exclusion poverty. This research has been ongoing, and have really taught me a lot. I also was able to look at the health, education, food, water supply, sanitation, the basic needs and indicators in poverty. At the same time, I explore um, the progressivity of federal taxation in 2007. Um, you look at all this, and I also explore the intentional poverty that comes as a deliberate act of policy making or denying yourself pleasurable experience or actions that encourages physical excesses such as eating food or partaking in drink that is above the simplest options. Um, In-depth analysis of the five poverty dimensions was explored. The poverty of life events, intentional poverty, poverty due to addiction, poverty due to drivers of power, and more so the generational poverty. Um, you can see in some of my slides, these were explained in details. Then the really heartfelt compassion I have for looking at the circle of poverty. Um, you know, People born 1 to 5 years into poverty, the children born into poverty, living wage jobs, out of reach without diplomas, the brain development how is delayed, and how schools, the difficulty in student dropouts. Those are situational issues that I explored. However, I look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the Black and Hispanic differences in multidimensional poverty. I look at several theories that really enrich my understanding and into the culture that is really eating in the debris of the society when it comes to poverty. Thereafter, I look at the three major factors of poverty: the individual factors, the cultural and neighborhood factors, and the structural factors. I was able to uncover that the individual factor that fuels poverty includes individual attitude, human capital, and welfare participation in Gans, reference Gans 1995 test. The theory of individualism is rooted in American values and belief in the free market system, a system thought to provide opportunity for all. The belief in individualism places much emphasis on individual hard work and responsibility to acquire basic needs, including food, shelter, healthcare services. These are some of the really intriguing issues I uncovered. But just keep in mind, I focused my poverty dimension on five major groups: the poverty and life events, the intentional poverty, poverty due to addiction, and poverty due to drivers of power. Finally, the generational poverty. Well, I look at the leadership style also. You look at the transformational leadership, autocratic leadership, and transactional leadership. Leadership style can really help in reducing poverty and carrying the agenda. Transforming leaders is all about initiating change in organization, groups, oneself, and others. These leaders motivate others to do more than they originally intended, and often even more than they thought possible. Autocratic leaders, on the other hand, their style is centered on the boss. It's leadership that leaders hold all authority and responsibility. You see a lot of this in Africa, Asia, China, but again, there are some, disadvantages and few advantages to those leadership. And then I look at the transactional leaders. All the same, these things really affect how poverty is being, taken care of or reduced in each components of this my research. However, look at the leadership consciousness, the values and belief, how people are raised. This actually helps in creating an environment where the poor can grow, and find way out. But overall, I will conclude that the question still exists: how do we really care for the poor or slow the rate of poverty? Psalm 72:12, for he will deliver the needy who cry out, the afflicted who have no one to help. Organizational leadership put all this in perspective. As a leader and a Christian, ethical making becomes critical and highly in need. A leader's role must balance emotion and moral decision making. Therefore, it's important to managers to understand how the things to do is determined when making decisions, representing themselves and the organization. This was part of the excerpt I got from Stanwyck and Stanwyck in our test 2016. Understanding the dimension of poverty research project rekindled my passion and goal to make an impact in my community, because I came from nothing to much. To whom much is given, much is expected, according to John F. Kennedy. It's been one of my courageous journey to learn from Christian Center Spirit-filled instructors in Colorado Christian University. I'm ready to share the great news and make an impact in my community. Thank you for allowing me the time to research and be a blessing to others. And thank you for my instructors, especially John Aldrich, who guided me throughout this my research project. I am looking forward to working a new work and making an impact in the world, especially my community at large. I appreciate everybody who is have the opportunity to look into what my research outcome were. It's been a blessing. I am really blessed to get this knowledge, especially being actionable according to the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, for they shall always be of help to others. The Beatitudes really is my guiding principle to making it happen. Thank you.